Today, let's have a look at how submissive, emotionally weak fathers can ruin lives. When there's no healthy father-child attachment because the father is emotionally distant, emotionally weak, perhaps submissive to the wife or the partner, and that's very damaging to the child in so many ways. Today, let's take a look at how this is damaging in just a handful of ways. So to either both a son or a daughter, the child is not getting any healthy role modeling about what it means to be a healthy father figure. What they're witnessing is a man who just cowers to the wife or the partner, who backs away from conflict, just runs away and hides, not teaching the child to advocating for him or herself because he's not advocating for himself. So for boys, in terms of positive role modeling about healthy masculinity, what it means to be a man, healthy masculinity has nothing to do with being over the top out there like I'm the man, that type of thing. No, healthy masculinity involves sharing one's honest opinion, being authentic, being strong enough to be vulnerable and risk intimacy, working through conflict and feelings, also taking charge and being authoritative when we need to. So if you have a father who's submissive, emotionally distant, weak, everything is topsy-turvy. Fathers are a bit more removed from the get-go. The mother carries the baby, the pregnancy, perhaps breastfeeds the child. There's a bonding that goes along with that. The father's watching from a distance, let's say. So now if you already have a man who has the traits of not being able to advocate for himself, share his feelings, speak up when he needs to, then with a child he may give up even more because it just seems like the mother-child relationship is way beyond what I can do here. I can't compete with that. But it's not a level of competition, right? It's just maternal and paternal, and we basically come together to raise the child. But if he's feeling out of the picture, so to speak, and maybe the wife or the girlfriend is advocating for this, she wants to be in control, then the man needs to recognize this and then step up to the plate. What does that mean to step up to the plate? Well, for one thing, you have to be aware of your responsibility at this point. You're now not only a partnered married man, but now you're a father. Now you have to take a greater role in setting up the finances, perhaps, helping the nesting happen at home. It's going to be nesting. This is now a family. Many boys raised by a submissive, emotionally distant father try to compensate for this when they hit adolescence and thinking that they need to be over-dominant, maybe even be a bully. I need to show what I'm all about. And that's because of a reaction to what they didn't get in a healthy way from their father. They're confused about it, so they want to overcompensate. As they hit their teenage years, they're so preoccupied with maintaining this persona, being something that they're really not and they shouldn't have to be, then that perhaps causes them to suffer in school with their studies, with making friends, with having real connections with people, because after all they're being is a persona of something. If you can't relate to your dad as a caring, loving man, if he's not providing that, if he's not capable of it, then where's that going to come from? It's not going to come from anywhere, really. And so in this case, particularly for the daughter, they're not going to know what it's like to have a boyfriend in terms of understanding communication, intimacy, the safety about getting close to somebody because they couldn't get close to their own father. This then can lead to promiscuity issues with either a boy or girl as they are teenagers because they have to go out and test the waters themselves. They're experimenting with life in however they want to because they certainly don't have a father communicating with them about life, about what it means to be an adult, about having sex. So these are the kids that are more prone to get in trouble at school and or act out sexually. The lack of a healthy father-child attachment here is what this is all about. Now, sometimes things get twisted from the wife in terms of what it means to be a man, and then this man who doesn't know himself well at all to begin with gets confused about what it means to be a man. This is why therapeutic work is sometimes so helpful with this type of issue. So for example, a man thinking, well, do I need to give her more money? Do I need to go out and cheat to prove I'm powerful? Maybe I need to be a little more misogynistic. That'll show I'm a man. Oh, I know, if I'm anti-gay, that's going to show I'm a man. So we see how it can become very twisted without understanding the real underlying reasons how somebody then may try to compensate in this way. The child is learning from a father like this that you need to be more of a follower, right? Because that's what the father is. Without a strong voice, there's more of a herd mentality. He follows things. He's not coming up with his own plan because he's not even advocating for himself as a father within the household. Quite often, men like this will be attracted to stronger women, so to speak, maybe narcissistic women, and these women enjoy riding the coattails of their so-called weakness. And it is a weakness in a way because they are going to zoom in and take advantage of it. Sometimes a father then like this will just give up. He's raising kids, he has this family, he doesn't feel like he belongs, the kids are more identified with the mother perhaps. They're just shunning him out because he's not contributing much anyhow, emotionally contributing much. And so the father may think, you know what, screw it. I'll just kind of lead a separate life. Well, that's very sad. And it's definitely not helped by any women out there who zoom in and try to manipulate and make this worse or take it over or use it to their advantage because of the struggles of the man in this regard. The wife can see the poor decision-making capabilities of this man. He can't make his mind up. He won't do something and stick to it. Things can appear a bit befuddled from a man like this. And this is where the man has to hopefully realize this and get some individual therapy for himself. Counseling for the family can be helpful as well, or couples counseling for sure, but the core, the source of this starts from within, where a man doesn't believe in himself. And then that has to be integrated into the dynamic of the couple. A healthy man can and should be able to make decisions based on instinct, based on a gut feeling, based on their goal setting. Now, of course, to set these goals, you need information and wisdom and intellect in terms of looking things up, understanding everything. But that's a healthy part of being a male, the ability to do that. Yes, for the female too, to be able to do that in a family for sure. But now we're more specifically zooming in on how it affects the children in terms of when a masculine figure doesn't do it. The children need to see that their father is not going to run from problems. They're going to deal with it head on. So if this father has a fear of rejection and confrontation, let's say, in many aspects of their life and also with their wife, then the kids are going to pick up on that energy and probably take advantage perhaps of a father like that. There's a good chance of that happening. And so they may start name calling him or bullying the father even, hoping, praying that on some level he's going to take charge and fight back, which is really the underlying reason usually for why they're doing this behavior. But without some therapeutic work, the father just cowers and cowers even more and becomes more of a wimp, so to speak. And so then the father may realize as years go on that this is happening. He doesn't have the words for it perhaps, but he tries to compensate by being a little bit abusive, some name calling, maybe some random temper tantrums, and doing things that actually remove the power, because who's going to respect a man who has random temper tantrums versus a man who just speaks his piece, speaks his mind, and is honest about it. It's coming from the heart and he means it. Because the father is acting in many ways like he doesn't somehow deserve affection or attention or intimacy from his wife, right? Because he's not showing that. Then a son may think that I don't deserve these things in life. I don't deserve female attention. Well, how sad is that? This is how boys then begin the process of becoming perhaps emasculated. If a boy is watching his mother run the show and a father being emotionally distant and weak, then how's he going to learn to be a healthy male? Now, hopefully he will somewhere, but quite often boys don't, and that's what we call emasculation. And I did a video on emasculated men, and I'll have the link to that in the description box below. The boy is learning that to avoid responsibility, I just have to be an emotional shapeshifter, change things around when I need to. My dad seems to do that. And also he may notice what can be called healthy aggression, healthy narcissism, maybe a zeal. He'll see that in male characters on TV shows or in movies, etc. And where's my dad's love of life, lust of life? He just seems to be this wimpy sort of wallflower. A son may think, what do I do with this? It's very confusing. The daughter also confused in a way in terms of who she's going to be seeking out as a mate in her life. Maybe she's seen her mother take over, her mother stepping more into the role of the princess of the home. I run the show. Well, she may very well go and do that herself when she starts dating, because after all, this is what women seem to do. My own mother does it. Also keep in mind in terms of with the man being emasculated is they can then appear and be very jealous in situations because they feel so small inside, so tiny, like they don't really matter. Another way this can play out, and then there's different opinions about this, is how being emasculated can lead to a son having same-sex attraction. Putting aside anything related to DNA and just looking at it from an emotional point of view, a psychological point of view, that seems very reasonable, because if he's been smothered now by a very strong mother and has a very weak, submissive father, then this is what we call emotional incest. And sometimes with emotional incest, then it repulses, in this case, a male child to be attracted to the opposite sex, because it feels like the woman they're dating, the woman is now going to take me over the way my mom took me over, the way my mom ran the show. How can I be a man in the midst of all this? I saw my father give up, and that can cloud how we feel about sexual attraction. It's a very gray area. It's not so black and white and rigid the way some people would like it to be. So there's many ways, it's like a spider web of symptoms that can come from a father who's in a marriage or a relationship and he's distant, emotionally weak, and submissive. Where is this man? Where is he? That's especially what the children want to know. And so he's got to learn to step up to the plate. And so for any men out there who fit this description, who are watching this video, I would recommend you start some individual therapy to go deep in understanding yourself and what you're all about and how your childhood trauma, your childhood impacted how you are now as a father. Very large topic here. Please leave me some comments below. Throw in anything you'd like to add. I'd love to hear your comments. Please subscribe to my mental health YouTube channel if you like these kind of videos. And until next week, this is Brad Shore signing off from Ask a Shrink.